Psychology isn't just about mental health, it's about anything with a brain and how that brain dictates its behavior. One of the great things about psychology is that it's quite diverse, and especially these days, the job market is competitive, so having flexibility is an advantage, I think. And so anywhere where you have people or non-human animals, you can study psychology in a myriad of ways, which you may not have previously thought of. Psychology isn't just about mental health, it's about anything with a brain and how that brain dictates its behavior. So that's quite a powerful field, I would say.
I think for me, I was one of these people that kind of knew what I wanted to do from a really young age. And we were actually talking about this earlier when I said that obviously one of the benefits of psychology is that it's so versatile and you can sort of choose it even if you don't know what you want to do. So I think that with psychology, you have people on the complete opposite end of the spectrum where there's people like me who have been really passionate about it from quite a young age. And then there are other people who sort of don't know what they want to do, but know that they want to get a degree, know that they want to come to university, and know that a psychology degree will sort of open a lot of doors for them. So yeah.
And once you got here, what area of psychology did you enjoy studying the most?
I think because I got the opportunity to do the clinical modules in the third year, I'd kind of been waiting for 2 years to study those. Because it is, I don't want to reduce it to mental health like you were saying, but mental health is why I wanted to study psychology. So yeah, it was really nice to be able to sort of go into that a little bit deeper. I did do it at GCSE and at A level, but obviously you don't really go into the clinical side of it until degree level.
I think for me, or for a lot of people that study psychology or choose it, it's that sort of inherent interest in people and what makes people tick, why they behave the way they do, and sort of decision making in general as well. So I've always been sort of interested in people and in health mostly as well, not just mental health, but physical health, how that can impact a person, the decisions they make following that. I think what surprised me the most about psychology is how broad it is. You know, we know roughly what it's about, but then to study animal psychology, to then study neuropsychology and developmental psychology, it's interesting to get to see all the different areas of it. And I think what surprised me the most was enjoying research skills. I was not expecting to enjoy research skills as much as I am, and to find strength in it as well. To find that I'm quite good at it and I enjoy it, even though it's statistic based, which was quite scary before coming to uni. But yeah, what surprised me was just how broad it can be and how you can find an area of interest in something that you've never really experienced before, which I enjoyed.
And I think our undergraduate programme, where you're doing 2 years of learning lots of different areas of psychology and sort of covering all those different bases, so
Yeah,
developmental and cognitive and neuropsychology really gives
yeah,
you that insight into all the different things that psychology is that you might
yeah.
not have known before.
And it's really nice at third year as well to have a little bit more freedom in what you'd like to study as well. So doing neuropsychology in depth and the clinical modules as well, just to make it a little bit more different and almost personalised. And your dissertation is something that you want to study, something you want to research, maybe something you've been thinking about for years. So um, that's been really nice. It's been really broad, but then at the end it's become really sort of narrow and personal, which I've really enjoyed.
Mm.
My whole family is basically a family of psychology students, so I thought I'd carry on the trend, and then I decided to choose Hull because my uncle did his degree here and he really enjoyed it. So I thought Hull was a good choice. And it's been really fun, like as we've said before, like you can take many different routes that people like never expect. And you can walk in like thinking that just psychology is like mental health, and you can walk out with like anything like animal or education, which is really good.
I have been studying psychology now for 6 years, so quite a long time. So I did my undergraduate degree here in psychology, and then I did a master's degree in occupational psychology at a different institution, and now I'm back doing a PhD in psychology here. So it's been a longish journey. um,
So I didn't study psychology at school. It was a subject that was available to me, but as soon as I found out that psychology was a subject, I was absolutely hooked. So I was kind of the geek that was buying psychology textbooks when I was 17, learning more about it, going to taster lectures. I was just absolutely fascinated in this subject where we can just learn about why people behave the way that they behave. I've always been interested in mental health, so understanding sort of the impact of mood on the way we think and on the way we behave. And I've just been hooked since I found out it was a subject. But I think the diversity that we've been talking about is really important. It doesn't pigeonhole you into one career path when you're 18 and not sure what the future holds. There's lots of transferable skills that we're teaching our graduates. So we're supporting group work, presenting skills, digital skills, and a bit of statistics as well, which Evan's really enjoying.
Surprisingly.
So I think it's really nice to you don't have to have all the answers when you're starting out, and you just never know what you'll find interesting.
I think it is the transferable skills that are important to industry. You know, to define what you want to do with your life at 18, 19 is quite difficult. But having gone through the process, you guys have proven yourselves, and you can transfer all them skills to other disciplines. So, from a layperson, that's what I think.
I think it definitely does build confidence as well whilst you're studying it. So I started in my first year working as a support worker for someone with autism, and that's just not something before I started uni that I thought I would do or I could be capable of, or even if I thought even considered it was a job before. I think just learning psychology and learning about people, it gives you that sort of confidence around people and helps you understand. And then going on to do jobs like that was the most rewarding thing I've probably ever done. And it's something that will help with future applications and it helps my studying as well. So I think networking within your degree as well is really important to open those sort of doors and see where you could be volunteering and see what jobs that this can lead to in the future. But yeah, that definitely surprised me. It's not something I thought I would have done or enjoyed, sort of thing.
yeah, I think as well, while we're talking about skill sets, even though it's a very person-focused discipline, it's still a science, and so you still learn the scientific method of statistics, obviously, but how to run studies, how to find out information, and how to test hypotheses, and being able to think critically about information, like when you're writing essays, being able to do your own research and answer your own questions. That's going to be an important skill pretty much anywhere, and that's obviously something that gets taught in psychology because that's the methodology that we use.
And I think, and this is what I'm telling my students as well, that learning about research methods in our discipline is important, even if they have no future intention to go into research, because usually the plan is they want to go become practitioners of something. And in order to stay up to date, you may need to read information, let's say, about a new intervention technique, and you need to be able actually to judge whether this is a promising method which you could incorporate into your own practice, or whether this is something you would rather discard and because it's not working, because the research underpinning it is not there to support it. So I think it is important not just for people who want to go down the sort of academic research pathway.
And I would even actually add to that to say it's important for even just general knowledge, consumption of information, reading newspapers, any media. Quite often, I teach this to my students, quite often what the media says about something isn't entirely correct because they aren't the scientists. They don't think about those things. They just kind of think they understand it and then run with it. And then you've got a lot of confusion from the public, especially in the health sciences, where they're doing these things and it's like that there's really no evidence for it or grounds for it because it was one study, low sample size, or. So being able to just actually rationalize that information from your own perspective will help guide you in life, I think, as well. You know, that's useful and it's good. It's not, you don't need to be afraid of statistics. It's great that people find it, enjoyable, because it actually is very useful for a lot of things in everyday life. Definitely.
I think it also learning the research skills and how to search for academic articles and do that sort of research. It sort of unlocks a door anyway, and it allows you to research your area of interest. You might have just heard a snippet of information on your module, and with that you're able to go down the rabbit hole for days on end and look into every tiny detail, because you've got those skills now to search and read the articles and pull them apart. And I think that's
Definitely.
something that I didn't realise I would learn how to do.
And going back to transferable skills, that's just a elaborate on that. That's a good point, because I think you know what you learn at university, when you come into university, is different. Pre-university, it teaches you how to think a certain way that allows you to think for yourself
Yeah.
and not just regurgitate information. So that's a bad position if you're just listening to what people tell you and you take it as truth. You become the scientist and think for yourself. Do I believe in that? Where's the evidence for that? And that puts you in a really good, powerful position coming out of graduation. Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a huge skill, especially looking back now in my final year. It's definitely a skill that's been taught every year and built on every year. Is this is the information available? What do you make of it? And what are the arguments? Which one would you support? Why? So definitely looking back, it's something that gets built on every single year.
And we're here to support you with that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah.
you don't have to do it all alone. And even outside of the psychology department, we have a skills team that are based at the library that can sort of support you develop any skills and things like that. So we're here to help.
Yeah.
So Mandy and Martin, as Tom's parents, did you know much about psychology before he pursued this interest? No?
No.
Something completely new to you?
Something completely new to us, yeah.
And what do you think about it now?
It's brilliant. I didn't realise there were so many aspects to it. And it's so diverse, and you can go into whatever he chooses to do, you can go into so many different aspects of it, really, to be honest. Yeah, you're thoroughly enjoying it, aren't you?
Yeah, I thought you'd end up in a job in HR. That's how limited my knowledge of psychology is.
Is it something you knew much about before Tom said that he wanted to study psychology?
No, didn't know anything, to be honest, no.
I know I kind of had a grasp of it, having been through the University of Life, because I'm at the other end of the scale from you guys being academics. We kind of went through the University of Life, interacting with our co-workers, and there's lots of psychology going on in that aspect. But yes, I had no appreciation of how broad it is until Tom enlightened us.
And over the course of his degree, have you seen him sort of gain confidence in soft skills as well as the sort of psychology specific?
Well, he's always been confident. Tom's always been confident in himself and his abilities, hasn't he? But going to university and being away from home, quite away from home, I think his skills in that side of things blossomed, for lack of a better word.
Other than cooking.
Oh yeah, that needs
Yeah.
brushing up, doesn't it?
So I have a question. So I wonder, because my background is I'm first generation academia as well. So I know that my parents had no idea what study is actually looking like, and so I had to find out what it actually is I want to study in the first place, how it's run. So I just wonder, from your perspective, was it difficult to make your mind up? Was it mainly driven by Tom, or did you go to, for example, a lot of open days with Tom just to find out more? So how did you go about it?
Well, with respect to the course he chose, that was
That
all
was
Tom.
down to you, yeah.
Yeah, we had no influence in that whatsoever. Kind of out the blue, really.
So did you have a discussion about Hull, and what made you decide actually that Hull would be a good choice?
Well, again, Tom researched all the universities that done the course. He sort of narrowed it down himself.
And you took me to an open day.
Yeah, so I brought Tom up to Hull. The York and Hull come up quite a lot in his research. So we come to an open day here in Hull, and Tom wasn't interested in going anywhere else to look, so his mind was pretty set from day one visiting here that this is where he wanted to come.